Did you bring some fish?
That is quite logical, Captain.
Where shall I strike?
Test your might. Test your might.
Get it out! Get it out!
Test your might. Test your might.
Your mother was a bird! You smell like a leopard! You are not.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Geek Card Show 138. I am Razerbug, and with me, if they haven't already melted away into a puddle,
Oh my god!
is
no.
the wonderful Robbie Glow.
Hello.
Hello.
Just to sort of say what we were talking about before we started, because I found it hilarious that the Met Office, the head of the UK Weather Department, whatever you want to call it, ran out of colours. So
Yes.
Normally it goes up to about 40 with the bright red on the map, because they have sort of like what the temperature is going to be and what it feels like. And on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to feel like 44 in London. Let me just translate that quickly. 44C in F. Okay, what is that? 111. Ow.
Nice.
And
Yes.
anyway, they ran out of colours because the bright red goes to 40, and if it's 44, they were like, what do we do now? So they went with black. Just to bring the point home that we're going to melt.
We're going to have been char-grilled, and that's why it'll be black.
Yeah, and bearing in mind we live in houses that are designed to keep heat in.
Yes, there is very, very rarely air conditioning in UK properties or places of business and things like that. So yes, it's wonderful. It's lovely. Nice heat wave to start things off.
It feels like we only just got over the last one, though.
I know. We've been recording for a grand total of about 30 seconds, and we're already talking about the weather. So this is about as British as this show has reached in a long time.
Yep.
But anyway, other than very warm, Robbie Glow, how was your week in World of Warcraft and geekery in general?
It was just World of Warcraft, really.
Yeah, just World of Warcraft, fair enough.
Yeah, so I've been slowly getting my way through the new content rep. I'm about halfway from Honoured to Revered, so that's going to be one down soon. I'm still stuck behind time-gated story content because I still haven't got my followers up to 3,000 experience points with their stupid 3 quests a day at 100 XP a go thing. I think I'm at something like painful like 2,600 now. So I'm just over a day, which is annoying because it's not an even, like, do your days and then you'll get that many. I must have like missed some of the day or something and got 200 instead of 300 or something, but I've got my numbers a bit off. So I'm not overly pleased about that. But that's a gripe that I've had with a lot of expansion stuff with time-gated content. But yeah, we had our raid night on Wednesday and we got the next boss down. So we're 2 for 2 weeks.
Yes,
Which was pretty good. Just a couple of days ago, I haven't tried it, but I read via our Discord actually that the Mechagon Mega Dungeon thing, the Mythic Mega Dungeon, is being nerfed. So maybe we'll actually have a shot at it.
Yes, that was hitting like several proverbial trucks when we attempted that one. So maybe it did need a little nerfy nerf.
Yeah, but what about you?
Yeah, so I've basically just been doing Nazjatar stuff as well. I mean, my PC still isn't fixed, even though the RAM should have been sent out last week. So actually, it's quite convenient to just have a little bit of same old content to do, because if I get interrupted, I can get back to it easily enough. I really surprised myself, and I've seen other people saying this on Twitter as well. So it's not an uncommon opinion that several of the mini games that are in the daily grinds, they're actually really enjoyable, but they actually are versions of games like Candy Crush that already are available for mobile. And while I'd never catch myself putting them on my mobile and playing them, I'm actually finding them really good fun in the game. It's the untangling the threads and the Candy Crush-esque destroy 27 purple blocks and that sort of thing. And occasionally I'll get a day when I'll get all three of the mini game quests as the three that I'm being given, and I can blow through it in no time at all.
Yeah. I liked when they started doing that with the Tortollan ones where it was like match the icon thing. That was one of the first times I thought, oh, they're bringing sort of quote unquote mini games into the world quest rather than just a standard kill 12 of these things.
Yeah, I always enjoyed that one as well. I think by far more enjoyable world quests, if I have to do them, are the Tortollan games. They're all pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I'm about the same as you. I'm honoured with the Nazjatar and annoyingly I forgot that there was a category of honoured between friendly and revered. So
that was painful when I reminded you of that.
Yeah, I kind of thought, we're going to get through this requiring quite quickly, but no. I've enjoyed some more of the plot. It's interesting that you sort of have to bump into it while you're doing grinds in Nazjatar. You don't really get led to it, but that was all right. And I've done the part in the storyline involving Bane, which was really good. Actually, I really enjoyed that little distraction. I thought it was well timed in terms of how long you've been going through. Through Nazjatar at that point. I've got a little way into Mechagon. I think I've like sort of basically identified that the king is bad and the prince is against him, and
there's a revolt and a revolution thing.
Yeah, and we've made a sort of first dent in his forces, and then I kind of left it at that because I realised I was going to have to grind Nazjatar more. So
and Nazjatar seems more central to plot at the minute.
Also, I'm not quite sure why, but I'm fairly sure when I very first day it opened up and I picked up that quest that's like get 3,000 XP on the three followers. The text originally read get each of the followers to level 3.
Yeah,
whereas now it doesn't.
That's a separate quest.
Is it? Oh, okay. Because I have now got them all to level 3.
There was one that said get a follower to level 3, and then he's like, go and talk to Jane, and says, "Oh yes, you've made friends. Well done. Have some friends."
I see. Right,
and then she's like, now you've made some friends. Let's like help them with like alliancey shit and get them buffed up and able to conquer Murlocs, I guess. Because they're always such a bane in people's lives.
Yes. I do find it amusing when they give you those ridiculous like kill 15 or 20 or 25
the bounties, yeah.
Yeah, I just because I'm playing as a tank, I can just pull everything in the area and just slowly grind it down and do all that.
It's funnier than that for me as a clothy priest because if it's like the Murlocs, which naturally don't have as much hit points as something else might, I can bubble, protect myself, and then just spam Holy Nova and just there. There's 12. What next?
I know my partner as a frost mage found it rather harder going, given that they've got very little in the way of self heals and everything. You just
painful.
Pull everything as soon as you try and walk anywhere.
One thing I have noticed is that certain mob types, like as in the category they are, have the radius of aggro seems ridiculous for some of them. Is it the Forgotten Memories daily thing? The one where you have to go round the Highborn and kill the tainted souls. And they pull from like a fucking mile away.
And also, I've noticed that the non-aggressive yellow mobs in that area are far more.
Oh yeah, if you accidentally press
targeted
a button,
by spells that shouldn't usually target non-aggressive enemies.
I think that's part of a plot device, because if you notice what those yellow highborn ones that aren't tainted, what they're doing is studying magic. So it could be that just a natural thing that they're more susceptible to being around spell casting. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
don't
would
know.
make
I mean,
sense though for that, but like why they pull from around a corner and a mile away, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had one the other day, and just yesterday actually, and it didn't make any sense because my paladin shield throw hits 3 targets, and it should really only be 3 aggressive targets. Occasionally, out in this expansion, it would sometimes ping a random creature if there wasn't a third. But yesterday I was fighting about 4 or 5 red aggro mobs. I hit my shield and it didn't throw to any of the mobs I already had aggroed. Instead, it pulled 3 yellow non-aggressive ones who were walking around in the area. I'm like, why have they made it suddenly do that? They seem to have taken away the game's ability to know what's an aggressive and what's a non-aggressive.
Well, were there any... See, I could understand that if that was like, oh, there were only neutral types around here, so I assume if you press that button, you want to hit them. But if there were aggressive red mobs there...
Yeah, I was already engaged.
Then why would they want more of that?
I just think feels like they've tried to make it so that you can't go quickly through things. You have to fight your way through 20 things in order to just pick up the one of 10 item that you need to pick up.
Just before we move on, I just wanted to ask you what you thought of the raid boss mechanic, because that was a bit unique and different.
It was. I've said before that this expansion's very much got this attitude of you have to get the mechanic exactly right or it's a wipe. But when you do get the mechanic exactly right, suddenly it just clicks.
Yes, and suddenly it's an easy mode.
Yeah. And I didn't mind that mechanic too much. I mean, we got 2 of them down, so obviously it's achievable, and with a quote unquote casual group.
That's fine.
At level, so yeah, I didn't mind it. I like that they try new mechanics and stuff, but it was. I always find it difficult to navigate in 3D space in WoW. I don't find it hard in other games, but in WoW, I don't feel like I get a real true sense of depth of where I am in sort of how close I am to something in 3D depth. So I don't really like the water-based things anyway. But you know, it's a thing you've got to do. You've got to make some changes.
I wonder if there's a DBM thing, because you know you can have a DBM thing to set a radius. I wonder if that does count for 3. I wonder if that does account for 3D space or Z plane, as it were.
I don't know actually.
Because that would be interesting to know, because I know that when you set radius and it sort of puts you in the middle of the circle and sort of, you know, you see the dots move by if you're too close or whatever. But I've never actually tried that in 3D space. So if that is a problem, maybe I wonder if there's a setting for that. Although I did notice with DBM as well, when we did engage in that fight, the first thing that it said was, you know, the normal thing of boss has been engaged, have fun, or whatever the message is. This one had, boss is engaged, please note that DBM is only an alpha for this boss.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So it's like, it's being patched, I think, as soon as possible, but it wasn't the case for the first boss. So I wonder if it's because of the way that it's been designed, this new fight, whether they've had problems with trying to get DBM commands.
Yeah, that would make sense if they suddenly introduced another plane of movement that didn't exist in DBM. Because I noticed that a few of the effects you had to dodge, if you tried to swim left or right of them, you often didn't have time. But if you just pressed spacebar and swam directly up, you could quite often mitigate a lot of that.
Yeah, and also that was a really quick way to get the distance you needed away from someone. Which is like, oh, I can't move left or right or forward or back, I'll just go up and hope that no one's there.
So yes, that's well. We're going back into those first 2 bosses, I believe, next time. So we'll have to have a look and see, and we'll have to see if it's still in alpha or if it's gotten patched.
We'll find out after 2 pulls and someone goes, "Did anyone check if there was an update?"
So this week then. Let's see. A minor little piece of something might have happened in San Diego, I believe.
Oh, the Comic Cons.
This was SDCC San Diego Comic Con, and we got quite a bit of news. A couple of things that really got me hyped was pretty much everything coming out of Marvel and / Disney this week, and also some new Star Trek news, which we'll come on to in a bit. But we have a breakdown of basically all the announcements that Disney / Marvel made about upcoming films and TV projects at San Diego Comic Con. So should we just
blast
should we
through
pick some
the
favorites,
list?
or should we just blast through them?
Yeah, blast through them, and then at the end just be like, so what one are you looking forward to?
Cool. So, coming 1st of May 2020 is the Scarlett Johansson solo Black Widow film, which would be interesting given the way end of Endgame. That's the one I'm trying to think of. Which, by the way, just coincidentally, has now officially passed Avatar as the highest-grossing film of all time. So,
oh, nice.
That'll be interesting. But yeah, given the way Endgame ended, it's going to be interesting to see how that solo movie plans out. But we'll see that in May.
Yep.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as we've talked about before, is coming in autumn 2020 on Disney Plus streaming service. They do actually mention later on in the article that we'll link to that obviously Falcon is the new Cap, and has indeed been fitted for more than one Captain America suit.
Oh.
So that could be Captain America and the Winter Soldier fairly soon. Coming is 6th of December 2020. 6th of November 2020. It's the Eternals. Now, I have to confess, this is a comic book group, series, title, etc. that I don't really know much about. I know that there are a bunch of immortals that are... I can't remember if they're traveling across time or across space, but they've interacted with a lot of the various different out there groups in Marvel's continuity, and it's a hella star-studded lineup of celebrities they've got to play in the various characters of the team. I won't go through a giant long list, but yeah, it's a really impressive cast list they've got there. So we'll have to see what they can do with that one. Marvel and Disney breaking into the Chinese market with Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. This is a I think fairly recent, last 5 years or so, released comic book title, with Shang-Chi being Marvel's first Chinese superhero. I believe. I have read that. I'd have to go and double check the sources, but there we go.
Looking at it now.
And interestingly, and I think quite cleverly, they've chosen to do the reveal of the actual Mandarin and his 10 rings in this film, because Iron Man 3, spoiler alert, the person playing the Mandarin was revealed as an actor at the end of the film. So yeah, interesting that if you want to know the payoff to that whole who's the real Mandarin story, you're going to need to watch Shang-Chi. That was coming out 12th of February 2021. So, WandaVision, we get that in spring of 2021 on Disney Plus. That was quite funny because Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are being interviewed here, and Paul Bettany's like, I don't know what everyone's getting excited about. I'm dead. I died at the end of Infinity War. Someone smashed a stone in my head.
Yeah.
And apparently the whole thing's going to get very zany and very weird and wonderful.
You would expect that, though.
Yeah, well, it makes me wonder if they're going a lot of sort of House of M.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because the actual quote from the director is, he said, if you thought the logo was strange, wait until you see the show. It's unlike anything we've done before. It's going to get weird. We're going to go deep. We're going to have lots of surprises, and we're going to finally understand Wanda Maximoff as the Scarlet Witch. Which I think, I think they're going to do something along the lines of House of M, or one of those sort of world-changing alternate reality things that become that Wanda like retreats into herself. I think in the comics she loses her two children, and she ends up creating a fantasy world where they're still alive and everything's the way she wants it, but she traps everybody else in there with her. So I can see that being a thing.
Yeah.
Loki is coming spring 2021, Disney Plus again. Tom Hiddleston gives an interview about that. Doesn't give too many things away, but hey, there you go. And we're getting Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a follow-up Doctor Strange 2 film coming 7th of May 2021. I can't help notice that this title is very similar to In the Mountain of Madness, a H.P. Lovecraft book.
I mean,
or story, I should say.
It's also funny because it ties in with WandaVision, apparently.
Ah, okay, I missed that part. So that'll be interesting. The TV series will set up the film, probably, or possibly the way around. The film will set up the TV series. That would make sense if you want to introduce a real sort of strange element that hasn't been seen before. Do it in the film first. And actually, it's interesting that they've said that it's going to be a slightly more gothic horror film than the first Doctor Strange, which
that'd be cool.
Yeah, they said we're going to make the first scary MCU
I was going to say
film.
Tim Burton the fuck out of it.
Yeah, so I can definitely see a character like Strange getting really up into some scary nonsense. So that could be cool. Now, another TV show coming to Disney Plus, but the one that we have definitely not heard anything about until now is an animated TV series called What If. It's going to be a sort of the Marvel equivalent to DC's Elseworlds, in which they put familiar characters into different situations and ask, literally, what if something different had happened in the character's past? It's a sort of Twilight Zone for superheroes, which would be interesting.
They would have to be really careful with that, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think this whole multiverse thing is going to be pushed quite heavily for Phase 4, and I think they probably use this as a way of doing that without interfering with mainstream continuity.
So you reckon this is just a because it's animated, it doesn't count?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like Star Wars cartoon isn't canon with the Star Wars film universe. I don't
know, because I think things like Rebels and Clone Wars are canon with the films, but we're getting off topic there. Autumn 2021 brings another another series to Disney Plus, and that is Hawkeye. So that does what it says on the tin, really. I think if it's not Arrow in purple instead of green, I will be very surprised. Now, a piece of news that I am absolutely stoked for is coming 5th of November 2021, and that's Thor 4, Love and Thunder, in which we see the lovely Natalie Portman wielding Thor's hammer. She is stepping back into the role as Jane, and just like in the comic books when they introduced a female Thor, it's Jane who picks up the hammer. And this will be interesting because people have criticised Natalie Portman in Thor 2 because she's pretty much phoning it in and was kind of contractually forced to appear in the film. But at Comic-Con, she looked very pleased to be taking up the hammer and taking up the lead role position. Interestingly as well, in the same interview panel thing, the new King of Asgard, which is to say the character Valkyrie, teased that the new king might be looking for her queen, which would be MCU listening to the complaints that Valkyrie's sexuality is largely sort of hinted at but not actually shown in the on screen in the films. So it'll be Thor, Jane taking up the role of Thor, and Valkyrie headlining that. And it's got the it's got the director that from Thor 3. I'm going to butcher their name now. Taika Waititi, I believe. Their return to this film seems to have got a lot of the people involved in it really excited. So hopefully that's going to be a really good thing. I found it interesting as well. Natalie Portman, in her usual petite self, holding the hammer, tweeted that we should use this as a before shot for when she starts bulking up for the role. So I'm looking forward to seeing super muscle Natalie Portman. That's going to be quite amusing. I wonder if they keep overweight Thor for the comparison.
I think overweight Thor should be canon, like from now on, like because it was fun.
You should just have chunky Thor. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. So yes, more news, but this one without a date attached to it, is a reboot, and they have actually stressed this will be a reboot of Blade. The 1998 to 2004 Blade movies are going to be considered not canon, and Blade is getting rebooted, and it is Mahershala Ali of Luke Cage fame, who is going to be playing the role of the. So it could be a lot of fun.
Now, why do you think they've decided to do that now?
I think they want to bring Blade into the MCU. In the comics and in the animations, he has a lot of crossover with people like Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah.
And I know we've heard that they want to do a Morbius movie. So it could be that they want to start exploring that element of Blade, Morbius, Spider-Man connection at some point in the future. He's also just a great, strong character who it would be a shame not to use in MCU. So I guess the time was right. Maybe the license and the rights to the character were available, or maybe they returned to Marvel after however many years it's been. Probably 14 years since the last Blade movie. That's terrifying. 15 years. Wow. Yeah. So there you go.
Damn.
There's a little bit of talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Captain Marvel, Black Panther. They hint a little at X-Men and Fantastic Four. Are coming in Phase 4 of MCU. But yeah, that's a big old packed list of what we can expect out of Marvel in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah.
Did you have a favourite in that amongst that lot?
So I have two.
Okay.
So I have Loki, just because I want to know the what the fuck aspect of it, and then for the one I'm like genuinely looking forward to because it's the film it's going to be is the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness one.
I have to say I'm with you on both counts there. I'm more excited now about Doctor Strange having picked up on that piece about it being a horror,
and it's a tie-in to the other.
And it's a tie-in, yes.
Yeah.
What do you make of the Eternals? Because that one feels like it's just sort of. We knew they were doing it, but it kind of feels like they've just suddenly dropped all this on us.
It feels like it was added with like. To me, it feels like it was added in this with other huge things, so people would just be like, "Oh, and that thing is also a thing," and I'm like, "But this surely deserves more of a thing, more of its own, not announcement, but its own focus."
Yeah,
for what it is, because it's. I mean, just look at the cast. The picture alone of the cast is enough to go, "Hang on a minute, this needs more attention."
I worry slightly that they're throwing a big star-studded cast at it because they don't want it to turn into the I can't even remember the name of the group that they did a TV series spin-off from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it all fell flat on its face.
Oh, so you're worried that it's like a star-studded cast because the story's shit?
Not because the story's shit, but because people don't know the Eternals. They're not as big a draw in the comics as, say, the Avengers or the X-Men.
So do you think this would have been better off as a Not is this a film? I can't.
It's a film, yeah. And
Would
I
this
think
have been better off as a series?
No, because they tried to do the TV series with the team of aliens from Agents of Shield, whose name's completely
And that's the
out of
point.
my brain.
And that's
But
the point.
I think, yeah, exactly. But I think this is the thing. Like they've tried doing a slightly less over superhero team as a TV show and build it up that way, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
It was cancelled after one season, so I think they're just like, right, no, we're not doing that again. We're going to throw some Hollywood glitz at it and see if we can make something launch.
So don't try and polish a turd.
Yeah, so that's what I make of that one.
Yeah.
Anything else about the Marvel announcements, or shall we move on?
Not that struck out as odd or weird. No, I'm content.
Awesome. So the other thing that really excited me about Comic-Con is that we got a full, not just teaser, but full-on trailer for Star Trek Picard. And we're going to link to a Den of Geeks breakdown of the trailer. So watch the trailer and then have a look at the breakdown. But very exciting news. It seems like Picard has left Starfleet following some action that made a lot of people in awe of the character. He's seems to have performed some great noble deed at some point. But then has resigned his commission and is living out his life on his vineyard on Earth. We see a host of new characters introduced. One appears to be a half Romulan, which is interesting. There's a character who is a female character with short cropped black hair and pronounced features, who is being described in the narrative that we see in the trailer as a very important person, a very powerful person who could be in a lot of trouble. And I have a theory that this is a reactivated Data's daughter.
Oh, okay.
I've not seen that said anywhere else. I'm not seeing it as a big thing. It's just my own little conspiracy theory. But if she is a new not Jungian, what do I mean? Union Sung android. I'm feeling I've got that wrong. I'm getting my Star Trek Geek card revoked. I can't remember who built Data, but if she is an android of that series, then she could indeed be very powerful, especially if she had some information or something in her memory banks that they didn't want people to get hold of, or something similar. We see the Borg showing up.
Yeah. That was the thing that got me, was because you look at the still of Daj, and it's like, either something's happened there, or you've had something extracted from your head.
Yes,
and people are assuming it's Borg tech, right?
Yeah, and that would kind of feel like it's confirmed when right at the last. Not quite the last shot, but right at the sort of ramp up of the trailer's narrative, who should show up but 7 of 9, which is awesome. We also see, I can only assume that's Brent Spiner. If it's not, it's a very, very similar looking actor.
I like this. It's unclear if Brent Spiner is being de-aged digitally in that final shot of the trailer, or if the makeup is just that amazing,
or if he just doesn't age.
I mean, that would be the theory, right? That would be what you'd hope was going on.
He's pulling a Keanu Reeves on us.
Oh God, don't.
So I presume this isn't going to be Data, because we saw him destroyed in Nemesis, but we did also see B4 was showing signs of having been activated, and having had Data's systems copied onto him. So I wonder if this is B4 that's chosen to start using the term data,
Do you know
having
what?
been reactivated.
In my head, as soon as I saw this, I was thinking to myself, has Elon Musk wrote this? Based on what we talked about last show.
So yeah, the fact that Data's in it makes me wonder if this is somehow connected to Data's daughter, but that's just my own crazy conspiracy theory.
You haven't got the whole thing on the wall with the string pointing to each bit, have you? Yeah.
No, I've not quite gone that far. We see a Borg cube, and we see Borg drones. So yeah, the Borg are a thing. And away from the trailer, while we're at it, when Comic-Con broke the news and there was the big reveals, several other people decided to say that they were also going to be in the show. Patrick Stewart tweeted to say they were filming a scene with, filming an episode with Frakes returning as Riker, which is exciting. And when they tweeted out that, the actress who plays Deanna Troi decided to announce that Deanna Troi would also be coming back. She actually said Troi and Riker, implying that they're coming back together as a couple. And I believe they're married in extended canon. So, yeah, that would be fantastic. I'm wondering if we'd see the USS Titan, which is the ship that Riker gets given. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited now. I thought they were going to go much more lowbrow, much more... we're doing a Picard story for the fun of having Picard in it, but it's going to be low key. It's going to be something.
It's just going to be Picard in his vineyard, just living his life.
Well, no, I didn't think. I mean, I thought it would be exciting and stuff, but I thought they'd keep it on Earth and have a small cast, small crew of people, and make it like conspiratorial or thriller-esque or something like that. But no, they're going full-on sci-fi.
I was going to say, so were you really quite surprised about how sizable the cast is in this? Not just because of how many people there are, but also how many new characters appear.
The new characters I was really, really excited to see because they're quite a diverse range. The half Romulan's carrying a flipping sword on his back.
I know.
It feels like a D&D party just turned
I know.
up.
It does scream out D&D, doesn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, as soon as we started seeing Data and 7 of 9 shop, I was like, oh my, this is going to be amazing. This is so much bigger than where I thought it was going to be.
Do you think that was the point they were trying to make?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. They were. The teaser trailer was very a teaser, and they had some big things to look to let us in on at the Comic-Con. Interestingly, I'm just looking at one of the pictures from the trailer. There's actually a banner. It looks like it's in a children's like creche or school or something, and she says Captain Picard Day on.
Yeah.
So presumably, he's being celebrated as some sort of hero, and maybe he doesn't want to be.
Do you reckon? We've talked in previous shows about how Star Trek has always done commentary because of the fact of real life, because it's sci-fi and it can sort of get away with those subjects. Do you think there's going to be something in this series that they're going to touch on?
Well, apparently, one of the big things in this series that they're touching on is the idea of intelligence versus artificial intelligence.
Right.
And what it means to be, I guess, alive and conscious and that sort of thing. It's something we saw a little bit toyed at with the Doctor in Voyager, but that sort of have a huge payoff. The fact that they're bringing back sort of every Borg actor they can get their hands on makes me think that they want to go into more about what it's like to be completely synthetic versus completely human versus something of the two. And that could be interesting because we're starting to ask those sorts of questions. We had a topic about cybernetic implants in the last episode. So yeah, be interesting to see where this goes. I'm really genuinely stoked for it. So
good.
We shall see.
Yeah. Can I just have like 5 minutes of moaning?
Yeah. Oh, you okay? Go on. Moan away.
Okay,
Robbie's got their ranty pants on.
yeah, so this is the ranty pants moment of the show because I logged into Twitter earlier today and I have been cursed with the new desktop layout and it is appalling and I hate it. So for those people who don't use anything like TweetDeck, which I might have to start using now because this is unbearable, it basically it looks like what Twitter would be on a tablet but on your desktop, and that doesn't vibe well with me.
I hate. It's one of my pet peeves is when sites decide that they're going to make one unified layout that works on across all screens, and what they end up doing is just making a big empty white page with a central column of content,
And that's essentially is what happened. So
Yeah.
on the side, at the top you used to have where your notifications, messages and stuff were. That's now on the left, going down. And then you have your trends, which was normally on the left in a little box, going the whole way down the side, on the right-hand side of the page, all the way down, right? So then you've got a central column, and the central column is the bit that scrolls, and everything else stays the same.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, I get that would be amazing on a tablet or a large mobile device screen because you would scroll that central bit. But that's not what you do on a desktop.
No.
And it's just, it looks clunky. The font looks too big on some of the things where I'm looking at it now and I'm approximating that about on the whole left-hand side, 60% of it is space that could be used for something, and it's not being used.
That's really stupid.
And the other thing that's really annoying is when you click on a tweet, you know how on a desktop it used to pop out and you could scroll?
Yeah.
Now, you click on the tweet that you want to view, it goes into this weird bit where it's a central box with the whole thread, and then it's just got a bit where there's a link to go back to your homepage, but it doesn't go back on the same place it was. And that was the big thing that I liked, was that I could open the tweet and it would be in the same place as it was, so I wouldn't lose out where I was. And now it's like, okay, I need to find a solution for this, because if I'm going to have to use Twitter on my computer, this is going to drive me mad.
Well, I highly recommend TweetDeck. I have it because I want to be able to see my notifications, my messages, and my tweets at the same time. And because they're a thin, small amount of text, then why not make use of multiple columns? But I also have the Geek Card Twitter feed open on the side as well, so I can spot when people are tweeting at us, tweeting at the show.
Yeah, I just think the whole this is going to work on every device thing is not the way to go about this. Myself.
Yeah, I mean, I like I say, it's a laziness on the part of UI designers, and trying to sort of make one. They make a layout for the most tricky device to display the content on, and then after that they just say, we'll fine on a computer.
And people just have to be okay with that.
Yeah. But there we go, and it is Twitter. We can tweet at the Twitter developers and tell them we don't like it. And I'm sure many people will, because the internet change.
Indeed.
Especially if it's shitty change.
Indeed.
Speaking of Twitter, though, while we've been on the air, the author of the Dresden series, Jim Butcher, has just tweeted the words "The End." I love writing that, which I hope means he's finished the latest Dresden Files book, which has been in development for 5 years now, or something ridiculous.
Oh, it's pushing well beyond that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to a new Dresden.
I kind of liked the format. It wasn't the end, just like as a sentence. It's the space and the th and all that going down.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder whether it's a literal tweet. Where it's like,
what you mean? This might be the
I really like the phrase "the end." I really love it, and it's got nothing to do with it at all. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can just
I
imagine
mean,
it's like
authors very rarely actually write the end in books these days, so it may just
true.
be.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to like get excited for it because like it's not. It's just cryptic at this point.
Indeed. Well, we'll wait and see, and we'll have news on that as soon as we hear anything. Why don't you close us out with something tech based, Rob?
Oh right. So we've been talking for several shows now about 5G and technology and what it can bring and how it can improve people's lives.
Yep.
What about if it could hinder police investigation?
That's probably not too helpful. How would it do that?
So
Surely it's just more communication.
that's what I thought too, but Europol has warned that European police forces may not be able to track criminals effectively over 5G mobile networks.
Well, do they give a reason for that?
So the Pan-European Agency's director said it currently lacked tools that on 4G networks gave police the ability to eavesdrop on criminals. So at the minute it's that they haven't managed to keep up with with technology, because like the tools and techniques developed to work with 4G had proved useful to forces investigating criminal gangs, but could also help in cases of kidnap to locate victims, and etc. etc. But what 5G does is it's made monitoring much more difficult because of the use of data scattering.
Oh, okay. So because they're spreading packets across
the
whole spectrum.
Yeah, then it's going to be a more difficult one to piece it back together and keep those vital links where they need it. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's gonna be the phone companies are going to want to transmit conversations encrypted, obviously, so that you can't eavesdrop on other people's conversations. But the technology of 5G is going to make it that much harder for the decryption at the other end. I guess it makes it, and also the packet scattering means that using location is difficult because it must be more difficult to triangulate between three towers.
Interestingly, though, the GSMA have said, part of the design of 5G is that it's involved the so-called Global 3GPP initiative that's responsible for setting standards. And within that, it says, including setting the standard for enabling lawful interception without problem. So it's almost like that it's built into the network how it can be sort of done, but it's like the external sources either haven't been told how or don't have a way of verifying it. Yeah. And that's just because, exponential growth in, how mobile network communications has developed so quickly. It's not.
I mean, I'm sort of torn in this one because usually I default to a position of my technology should serve me, and it shouldn't be a way of authoritarian bodies restricting me or observing me or monitoring or anything like that. And I would usually be very much against. I'd usually be very much for any technology that made that more difficult. But at the same time, there are use cases where, like anti-terrorism or tracking people who are lost or taken and things like that, where I can see that there are innocent applications of these sorts of things. But and then I find myself asking, well, maybe the police just have to find alternative ways of policing in these circumstances and not rely on the fact that they have the phones as an option. I don't know.
The thing that jumped out to me, it wasn't specifically about networks, but it was about that case with I think it was the FBI or the CIA versus Apple. Do you remember the one about how
I do,
the unlocking of the phone needed to be in a way that they could just do it. And Apple's position was very much the mobile phone is people's possessions, people's property. It is not for us to be authoritarian and just give you the back door, as it were. And I wonder if this is a similar thing where, so the GSM may say that the technology's there, but it's also built into the system to be able to undo that. But is that to do with the network itself? Is that the infrastructure? Is that the mobile carrier? Like, who is the person that would have to, or the entity that would then say, you can do this with this key, for example? Like, whose responsibility is that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I can't imagine that the police won't have this technology eventually. I mean, I don't think the networks or the carriers will. I don't think the handset manufacturers or the carriers will, at least based on what we've seen from them so far, will give in and just give law enforcement agencies or even intelligence agencies, secret services, access to this. But I can't imagine it will be very long before. Especially things like secret services and intelligence agencies, develop their own version of the technology.
That's how I was thinking of it.
Yeah, because if the networks themselves can get this technology in order to offer the phone service, then presumably it definitely means that eventually law enforcement agencies will have similar technology.
Yeah, and if again, like when it kind of went to that Apple case, didn't the FBI ending up through their departments figuring out a way of doing it anyway?
I don't know. I thought that in the end they didn't manage to, and they had to try and recover data off the phone's chips rather than getting it from the operating system.
I was thinking about something else that was to do with that. I'll have to come back.
I think there have been a couple of cases, a couple of similar related cases. So it's quite possible that there's been different rulings.
So do you think this has to be more of a, the technology is going quick, you just have to keep up, or is this the people who are developing the infrastructure should give this, just free rein? Like, how? Oh
no, I mean, I definitely don't think the people developing the infrastructure should make things deliberately easier for people to
because that's the safety of the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And because as soon as law enforcement agencies have this technology, then criminal organizations also.
And arguably criminals would have access to it before.
Yes, exactly. So I think that it's on the handset manufacturers and the network standards bodies to make the most secure, difficult to hack communications possible, and then it's on law enforcement agencies either by self determination or by doing legal and above board deals with the hardware manufacturers to get to the point where they can properly police criminals without infringing on the liberties of individual citizens. So it's a very loaded topic, and I think it's going to be one that gets dealt with in a different way by different companies.
And unfortunately,
countries. Sorry.
And unfortunately, it's one of those topics that you have to talk about it, or else it gets out of hand without you realizing it. So I'd be interested to see what people make of this sort of topic anyway. So let us know.
Yes, indeed. If we would like to know your take on this and any of the other topics we've mentioned. Are you for or against the 5G law enforcement issues? Are you excited about anything you've heard at Comic-Con? What do you think of Twitter's new interface? I mean, come on, that's the burning question here. You can let us know by Twitter, actually, I think we are just on Twitter these days.
Yeah, we're basically a Twitter show.
Yeah. We can be found nights with the wonderful ladies from GGW. If you'd like to join us, go to girlsgonewild.net/Discord for information about their Discord server, which is where we all meets and hangs. We have the inbox segment where we receive the thoughts and opinions of the lovely card-carrying geeks. And this week, I believe, Buhtz has been in touch.
Yeah, Marie is talking in regards to our last show entitled Elon Musk Did What? And the response from Marie is, oh, hell no. I would want to wait several tech generations before even considering a neural interface. I can see this going along the lines of the split brain research. Looks fine, solves problems, but introduces surprising and scary side effects.
Yes, indeed. It's a really interesting comparison, actually. I hadn't thought of that, but it is very similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So thanks, Marie, for writing in. She tweeted us at TGC Show, which is where you can get in touch with the show. We are on the Twitters as well, but more about that in a moment, because more importantly, we are on VOG Network. It's the Voice of Geeks network, where you can find amazing shows. We've mentioned Girls Gone WoW already, but there is a host of different podcasts available for you there, whether you like geekery or culture or video games, all sorts of awesome things there. You can go to vognetwork.com. And on Thursdays, you can hear us a day before the rest of the internets by going to vognetwork.com/the-geek-card.
How exciting.
Indeed. You can presumably already have found us on iTunes, Spotify, and all those other great places where podcasts are broadcast from. So please give us a like, a thumbs up, a 5-star rating, whatever it is that system uses. It helps to grow the show, and we always love to see them. So please help us out there. If you want to read the show notes and check out the various stories and breakdowns that we referenced today, you can go to thegeekcard.podbean.com, where all of the notes for each of the shows is available. So, I believe at this point of the show, and in keeping up with the bureaucratic necessities that we have been letting slip recently with our short shows,
yes.
I have to ask you all to pass me your geek cards.
How many stamps is that going to be?
Well, I think I'm feeling generous.
Oh, nice.
There we go. Fantastic. We're all stamped up for the weeks that we've missed.
Yeah.
So, Robbie, where can people find you on the Twitters?
You can find me at Robbie_Glow.
And you can find me at RZBG. And that will do us for this week. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Geek Card with your hosts, Razerbug and Robbie Glow. You can find The Geek Card wherever fine podcasts are found, and on the web at thegeekcard.podbean.com. The Geek Card is a proud member of the Voice of Geeks network, where you can find other amazing podcasts like Orange Lounge Radio, Starboard Power Coupling, and Girls Gone WoW. Find out more at www.vognetwork.com.